Okay, good afternoon everybody. Tim Smith here, Sip Sellers Flying Fish is the company, or the brand, and now is a great time to start talking about how we tentatively warm up and prepare to get back on the water. Already various territories, various countries are opening up, getting out on the water in single boats, paddle boards, that sort of thing, and hopefully that trend will continue. I have 20 exercises for you. The first 8 of which are my dragon boat or the dragon boat flying fish warm up anyway, and they're the ones I would recommend personally for warming up, whole body warm up, that sort of thing. And all you really need is either a paddle or a stick. So if you think about it, you go training, what have you got in your hand? A paddle. You might as well use that to best effect. So let's get on with the first 8. Now the first one, actually you don't need a paddle for, it's star jumps, and you know the way we do it. It's a long form one or a short form. The star jumps are either marching with your feet or stride jumps. We've done that before. The important bit is well, they're all important, but the most important bit is what's going on at top. So basically we've got regular star jumps, option 1, one to the front, one to the side, so we're warming up the hips and the shoulders as well. Option 3, 2 to the forwards, 2 to the top, 2 to the front, 2 to the top. Option 4, palms down to palm up, palms down to palm up, so we're warming up the shoulder in all sorts of planes of motion. Option 5 is like a jump rope or a skipping rope, but we're interlocking the hands as you've done that before. And option 6 is change leg stance, and we're doing little stride jumps, and they're into spotty dogs, okay, from the side. So a typical set, if you did all 6, and you can do variations of it, will go like this. We'll do 8 of each. So here we go, star jumps, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, option 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, option 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, option 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, option 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, spotty dogs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't have to rotate around, but just showing you. What I suggest you probably do is maybe 10 of each, 12 of each, and then you've done your pulse raiser and you're nice sufficiently warmed up for what comes next. What comes next? You need a paddle. I'll use a white pole. 2 reasons. Firstly, I want to take out the light, and secondly, you can see it. So, posterior chain stretch. You've seen this before. 4-part manoeuvre. Unlock the legs. So we're going all the way up to the top, all the way down to the ground, out to the side. Notice that rotates around that point, out to the side. So all the way up, all the way down, oblique stretch, oblique stretch. Up, down, oblique stretch, oblique stretch. Said it before, keep the knees unlocked, okay, not rigid. So we're going all the way up, all the way down, and as you go, your back will loosen off. 2 oblique stretches. Okay, that's number 2 of 20. Number 3 is the up and over and take a bow. Up and over is up, over the back, and take a bow. Okay, simple as that. You can do this with a resistance band as well, but since you've got a paddle in your hand, you may as well do it with a paddle. Okay, so big, just take it nice and easy, up and over, then really big bow, but keep your head neutral, your spine neutral, even though you're flexing at the hips, okay? There we go. If you've got a paddle, then if it's only 130, you might want to hold it at the extreme end or rest your wrists over the paddle, if you know what I mean, so you get the maximum wingspan you can. So it might be a case of up and over on the shoulders and dip down, okay? If it depends on your dynamics and the mechanics and the angles, you don't want to be doing it from there, because that's going to cramp your shoulders up a little bit. Okay, fine. Number 3. Number 4 is a body rotation. This is where you certainly just want to be resting there. So once again, increase your wingspan as much as possible. Use that as a resting point, and we're going from hips forwards toes forwards, and we're trying to move through 180 degrees. So there's a bit of leg drive in it, but it's mainly core and obliques. There we go, just getting that working. Can feel it in the lats as well, so really good warm-up exercise. Okay, moving on. Next one, number 5, is the overhead squat. We've done this one before again. So squatting, principle in squatting is we're sitting back, so my knee doesn't go any further than my toe. I drive up with the heels, I drive the ground away. To make it into a bit of a core exercise as well, paddle or pipe over the head. Don't strain it back here. Let it naturally, when you go down, come to a natural position, okay? That's good for me. Just comes forward a little bit. And what we're doing, nice and slow. So you can either do counts of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Get used to driving up. So I would do, if I did a set of 10, I would do set it up, 2, up, 2, down, 2, down, 2, down, 2. Then think about driving up. Down, 2, driving up. Down, 2, driving up. So using it to activate the quads dynamically as well. Okay, there's your overhead squats. Next one is a lunge and twist. So this is going to be number 6. Yeah, lunge and twist. So basically, we're going to be doing, leaving the left leg stationary. So make sure you can see me. We're going to lunge to the front, knee down, lunge to the back, lunge to the side, okay? Now if I just change the angle a little bit so you can see that. There we go. Well, we're going to add a twist. So once again, left leg stationary to start. So we go lunge forwards, twist one way. It doesn't matter which way you twist, so long as when you lunge backwards, you twist the other way. And then twist to the side and do another oblique stretch. You see what I mean? So once again, left leg stationary, lunge forwards, in this case twist to the right, lunge backwards, twist to the left, lunge to the right, oblique stretch. And so it goes on the other side as well. Like I say, if you twist to the right on the going forwards, twist to the left on going back. As long as you go both ways, that's the main thing. That's number 6. Next one is the halo. Last 2 of the warm-up exercises. You've done this before, I've got 2 halos for you. But the halo is basically moving the paddle around the head. I'll just lean down a bit so you can see it, because I've changed the angle. There we go. Changing the angle, there we go, and then take it the opposite direction. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. And the last one to finish off the warm-up is actually the kayak stroke. What we're doing is activating the shoulders dynamically. So from here, we're going using the shoulders, which are nicely warmed up, and also the hips, okay? And we're still driving down, still in that same situation there. And when we're coming forward, we're looking through the paddle rather than over the paddle. So we're looking through the paddle or under the paddle rather than over it and being off balanced, okay? You can do it if you wanted, one leg forwards, but I just prefer it because I want to swing my hips as well into driving down, driving down, driving down, driving down. So finishing a warm up, it's a nice focused piece. Get the blood coursing a little bit and then prepare to go and get in the boat and get going. If you're using it part as your warm up generally, then obviously you continue on. But I'll hold it there for a minute and I'll just change the camera angle. So hang on. Okay, here we go again. So just moving on. So we could use those 8 as a basic boat warm up. Depending on what you wanted to do, another option is to swap the kayak stroke exercise out and add in a take that core exercise. And the take that core exercise, I'm sure you've seen it, is rather than just going down to there, what we're aiming to do is get down, still in the frontal plane, but as far down to the knee as I can get, up beneath the knee or behind the knee. So down with gravity, push up, down and push up. Okay, so we're using gravity to take us down. So there's resistance there, and then we're pushing up against it. So rather than take that, it's more of an arch, if you know what I mean. Okay, moving in that frontal plane. So you can use that as part of the warm-up. You can use any of these as part of the warm-up. Okay, so I sometimes swap that out for the kayak stroke. So there's your ninth, depending on how you use it. Moving on, high halo and the locomotive. Now, we sort of discovered this by accident. We've been talking about circumduction, this action here, this conical action. But you can also do a circumduction exercise, and I'm going to lean down so you can see it, or kneel down. So normally take that is there, and when we do a halo, it's that sort of rotation there. The high halo is shoulder width apart, and what we're basically doing, you see what I mean, we're just describing circles in that conical shape. And I do it in two parts, so I do the high halo there, and it becomes the locomotive. The reason I call it that is because when I see you all on the screen, you're all doing the same thing. That's exactly what it looks like. Okay, so we do high halo, maybe 8 of those, and then locomotive, and then we do reverse. You see what I mean? And then high halo reverse. So that's the high halo and locomotive. Okay, moving on. So then we go to these shoulder specific stuff. This is more daily exercises, not really a warm-up as such, but these shoulder mobilisation, health, fitness, strength development that you do over time that gives you the basic strength and stability for when you get back in the dragon boat and put it under more stress. So a number of them with a paddle. Once again, done this before. I'm going to go left first. So right hand off, knuckles facing upwards. See where my thumb is. My thumb is going to rotate up and then down. I'm going to bend my elbow and it's going to track down the outside of my forearm, perpendicular to my upper arm, and what I'm going to do is laterally rotate. Okay, so pulse, 15 seconds on, 5 seconds off, that sort of thing, or 20 seconds. So it's not a shoulder wrenching, it's a just developmental stretch day by day. Okay, coming out of that, same thing again. That's where my thumb is, knuckles facing upwards, thumb goes up, whoop, and down, bend the arm, and there we are, it's set up. So I'm levering against my upper arm, yeah, in that lateral external rotation manner. Okay, so that's the lateral stick stretch, or the shoulder stick I call it. The next one is the shoulder pry, up over the shoulder, and what we're doing is we're levering off the scapula, but we're just hooking our finger over. I tend to do it thumb facing upwards. You could do it thumb facing down. I think it's better thumb facing up. And what we're doing is just gently levering that. Once again, an extra range of motion that we don't normally practice or rehearse. Just once again, pulse it, 15, 20 seconds. Just increase that range of motion over time, 3 or 4 times over the course of a minute. Same again. You might find you're more flexible one side or the other. And same again. So it's tracking sort of diagonally across my shoulders. That works. Light pressure, and you get a bit of a stretch up here as well. Okay, so moving on. Shoulder stick, shoulder pry, back scratch and doorknob. So you know the doorknob exercise. This is once again this horizontal rotation, and you can do it without the paddle, either both forward, both back, or we've done also opposites. So this is a 2-part stretch. So we've got the doorknob here with the paddle in the hand. Paddle weighs what? Half a kilo, depending on what you've got, maybe a bit heavy if you're using a corporate paddle. And once again, you're just maximising that range of motion. And to continue the stretch across your shoulders, just gently make a fist and push your hand, your other hand, up your back. So you're stretching, once again, developing at the back and also creating that stretch all the way across the top of the shoulders. Okay? Nice and steady, so don't rush it, full range of motion, and let the paddle just use the weight to accentuate the stretch. And then when you're done, same again, set it up. I'm more flexible on one side than the other, so make a fist, trying to reach up your back, don't cramp up, and same thing again, okay? So, doorknob and back scratch. There we go, so moving on. I've got my crib sheet over here. Shoulder pry, back scratch, doorknob. Bent over row and Russian twist. Now, 2 ways of doing this. You can either do it with a paddle. It's less good with a paddle because what you're aiming to do is do that sort of thing, okay? And you might find the paddle actually restricts you. It's better off if you have a resistance band to hand, and then we're going from there to there. Okay, remember that's pointing down, so I'm making at least a 90-degree angle here. Okay, maybe more, and the more twist I put in, the better twist I've got, and I can feel it into my legs as well. Okay, so that's that bent over Russian twist. Or you could actually sit down, and I'll show you this in a minute, do a proper Russian twist with a weight. Okay, but this will work quite well. And in fact, you don't actually have to have a paddle at all. You can actually go from there to there. You see what I mean? And just, so one initiates the other. And it does the same thing. You're really just opening up the glutes and the obliques there again, and just tightening the core and flexing it, because obviously that's a lot of the way we paddle anyway. Okay, so you could just come down, clap, and it goes up, clap, up. If you get it going together, everyone doing together, it looks quite smart actually. I saw a German team doing that in Brandenburg. It really was smart, and I've sort of borrowed it off them. Okay, so there we go. The next one you could do, that's the bent over Russian twist, a variation of Russian twist. The next one is the the dragon boat hip flex. Now once again, I'll change the angle of now it doesn't matter which leg you normally have forward in the dragon boat. This is not about that. I'll suggest you do both sides anyway. It's a hip flexor, open up the hips and get forward exercise. So the basic one, obviously this hand doesn't go any further back than the hip, and we're going up, down, down and up. You see what I mean? We're just opening up the hips and moving forward. It's a good stability exercise as well. And if you happen to paddle outside leg forward, do it that way, that's fine. You're probably moving more than you would in a boat, but the point is we're just flexing the hips and driving off the front leg. This obviously won't work if your tradition is to paddle both legs forwards, obviously. So just accept that in some of the drills we do, then you have to get a stable position, but other than that, it's similar to how a lot of us paddle this side of the Atlantic. Okay, dragon boat hip flex. There we go, moving on. Where are we? Kayak could come in there, dragon boat hip flex. Front and lat raise. Now, you can either do this with a weight. It's essentially moving through there to there. It's moving through to there and just getting used to that. A light weight, in fact you could use it as a stretch. If you've got a light weight, and I've got some, let's use these for example. They're dragon boat sticks. I mean they're lighter than I'd need. But what we're already doing is just opening up the hips from there to there, that range of motion there. Okay? More of a maintenance manoeuvre, and like I say, if you add a bit of weight to it, it's easy for the first 30 reps, and then it gets a bit more difficult. But don't go too heavy on the weights. Precision movement. Okay, sagittal plane to frontal plane. So lateral hip raise, I do it with a maximum of 4 or 5 kilos as a kettlebell, that sort of thing, and that's enough. That's enough for me. Okay. Right, there's your front and lateral raise. Where are we now? And the helix. So with that, same sort of thing as before. If you had 2 weights, it's really just getting used to that manoeuvre. Okay? And we've done this before. Once again, you can do it with very light weights or even tennis balls. And really, it's a hip flexing and a shoulder flexing exercise. If you're doing it with sticks, it's interesting because you'd have to go that way. So you're really externally rotating a bit more. So either do it with small kettlebells, 4 kilos sort of thing, or if I do it with sticks, you see what I mean? Because when I come that way, I really have to accentuate the rotation outwards. So for a flexibility thing, I'd use light sticks. For a strength and flexibility thing, I'd use lightweight kettlebells or weights. I've actually got some irons. They're actually Victorian irons, which weigh a couple of kilos each. Okay, last 4 exercises. Floor exercises, we've covered these before in different sessions. So the first one is what I'm calling a sit-up or cross-bow sit-up. So what we're doing here, from a sit-up position, down overhead, up to parallel, and then I'm going right So left, 90 degrees, left to right. Okay, so I'm really twisting the core. It's another form of Russian twist really, or if you're doing a crossbow stroke in a kayak or an O1 or an OC1, that sort of thing. Okay, so down, up, 3, 4. You could also do it with a resistance band. Just demonstrate that, double over the band, and you're replicating the paddle again. So down, up, twist, twist. Down, up, twist, twist. So once again, 4-part manoeuvre. Okay, next one is the glute bridge and overhead raise. So you're familiar with this. Glute bridge, you can see it. Feet flat on the ground, shoulders there. So I want to keep the glute bridge on. Now you can either just do up and over and manoeuvring with no weight at all. I quite like it with a bit of a weight. So don't do this on your marble floor, and I'm keeping the glute bridge on. Don't whack the floor. So you're really working the shoulders and the core as well. If you want to add a further degree of difficulty, then you get your resistance band, you make a stirrup and a second stirrup, up and over, and that's like having a weight in your lap, and then you come in with your weight, keep your glute bridge on, and there you go. And just take it easy coming out of that. Add weight to taste, obviously, and when you're coming out, if you're using a resistance band, take it easy when you're coming out of the band. Loads of resistance band exercises on the YouTube site. They're the basic frame exercises. So that's those two. 2 more to do. The first is what I'm calling the dynamic Superman. And once again, the neutral position for both of these 2 last exercises, hand below the shoulder, knee below the hip. Okay, that's my neutral position. It's the happy cat position, if you like. Big smile for happy cat. So we go one arm forward, opposite leg forward. That's the extended position, the stretch position. We draw it in. So these 2 cross over here. I'm trying to get my elbow back towards my upright knee and then stretch out. And really nice and slow and deliberate. And pulse it out, maybe 5 or 6. Don't be too fast, maybe hold it at the end, that sort of thing. And then obviously cross over and do the same thing there. Maybe sets of 5, rest, second sets of 5 both sides, that sort of thing. But it's like an ISO hold there, so really set it up, pulse it in, flex it and extend it, okay, and hold it there for a while. Okay, brilliant. Last one is a cat stretch. So we've done this before, I think. So we've got the happy cats. Then what I call the dancing cat, and what we're actually doing is working the shoulders. We're rotating, we're circumducting, we're elevating, we're depressing, we're protracting, retracting, all the shoulder movements. And then we take it into sag cat, draw the belly in, lumbar spine up towards the ceiling, so arch the back, chin on chest, draw the tummy in. Okay, and then we're doing 3-legged cat. It's a lat and oblique stretch, stretch down and up. And what I'm trying to do is I'm pushing up with this hand, carving up with this hand, I'm pushing this shoulder down towards the ground. So that's where I get my stretch from, okay? Look up over my left shoulder to accentuate the stretch, and just to demonstrate it from the other side. Again, down and up. So I'm pushing up with this one, pushing up with this one, and pushing down with my shoulder. If you do, so I'm levering down to get that stretch. Look over my shoulder to accentuate the stretch. And release, and we finish that off into a prayer position, child's pose or sleeping cat. Sit back on the heels, stretching forwards, trying to get my shoulder down towards the ground, levering off my hands. So press down, feel the stretch all the way through the lats, and then creep it forwards. Sometimes it's good just to come off a little bit, creep forward a bit, and then sit back down. Try and leave those fingers there and get back down as far as you can to accentuate the stretch. And that is essentially it. I'm just going to cover one more piece, which is a post-race warm down, should you want to use that, or post-session warm down. So hang on a minute and I'll just cover that in the last segment of this video. Okay, warm down or cool down, last segment of this video. Let me just change the angle a little bit because that's not quite how I need it. So just come off the water, just finished a session or just finished a heavier session on the land, okay? So a typical warm down, body rotations. You can use the same exercises as warming up, except they're slower and you're maintaining and developing a stretch. So fairly standard, but a standard cool down, instead of going fast on the body rotations, nice and slow, extending, stretching, loose on the hands, and then hold it one side, 5 to 10, release it, and hold it the other side, same again. Release it, maybe go through that twice. Into hips, big hip circles, roll off the feet, balls of the feet, and the heels, take it both ways. Some side bends, and you're reaching down the seam of your trousers. Okay. There we go, a bit more of those. And then we can do some arm circles. Once again, stretching off, arm circles going back. And then the last one is called the starfish. So basically, interlock the hands, bend at the waist, lift and push to separate the shoulder blades at the back. And then up into a starfish, Y-shaped starfish, which you can't quite see, I'll just crouch down a little bit. Same again, interlock the hands, lift and push. Feel the stretch in the hamstrings, hang the head for more of a stretch into a T-shaped starfish. Once again, just stretch across the chest. And the last one is the high mums. Let me change the angle once more. We're going touch the ground, touch the sky, touch the ground, touch the sky. Do that a few times. Then last one, we come up onto tiptoes, reach for the sky, high on one side, reach high, stretch out my right side, high on the other side, stretch out my left side, both hands high, breathe in, out, and down. And that's you cooled down, okay? So that's it, that's a flying fish warm-up session, and the current one I'm using for a variety of things. A collection of exercises from around different routines, but that tends to be a nice little session of about 45 minutes. What I tend to do when I do it is, as you've seen, Tabata style, so I might do the on interval for a minute. I typically do it a minute and then go straight to the other one, 10 seconds, change over, that sort of thing, and then do a minute of that, etc., that sort of thing. Everything I do on the right, like the lunges, I do on the left. The dragon boat, hip flex, I do that right and left, whether I'm a hip right side paddler or left side paddler as well. So everything's nice and even, everything's steady. And if you haven't got the time to do 20 exercises, then divide it in two. Do 10 and 10. Alternate days is better than doing nothing and then doing loads 5 minutes before you get in a dragon boat. Yeah? A lot of these are maintenance stretches as well, so they don't have to be done at maximum pace. You can increase the intensity, increase the interval, and if you're carrying weights or resistance bands, you can obviously increase, that's your progressive overload there as well. Any questions on any of this, come back to me, you know where I am. Regarding the channel will be free forever, that's the plan. No plans to change that. Please subscribe to get free updates. And what I like about YouTube is if you subscribe, you don't get showered with nonsense. If you log on to YouTube, it may recommend one. If I do like a special, like I did one for breast cancer paddling a few days ago, I premiere it, but I don't premiere everything, otherwise you'll get a shed load of premieres coming your way. But you don't get showered anyway, that's what I like about it. Anyway, that's where we're going. Hope everything's okay. I keep forgetting this word title, this song title, but in the words of the song that I keep forgetting, stay young, be young, what is it? Be young, be foolish, and be happy. Have a lovely day. Thank you, and cheers.